We're getting first rain, proper rain we've had. Looks to be a reasonably decent shower this. We could really do with it. Look at the grass. Well, it's the 3rd of September. I'm just having a wander around some of our grass fields. Just trying to make a decision on what to do. There seems to be a lot of ground that's gone like this, which is just, the grass is all gone yellow. It's like, it's covered in like rust from the drought stress. We've had a couple of decent showers of rain over the last 2 or 3 days. We've had a good shower just this morning. So the grass is finally getting the water it needs. But will it ever recover once it's gone to this yellow stage? Once it's gone all rusty like this? Or does it need cutting or topping to bring it back to life? I mean, I've cut a field. Me and Dan did about 4 or 5 acres yesterday of some stuff. There wasn't much more grass on it than this, but a lot of it had shot up and gone to seed because it was had quite a lot of ryegrass in it. And what we're noticing is where I mowed about a week ago, it looks really green now. Like it looks really healthy. Whereas the fields that haven't been cut, even after a week of showers, it's not really changing colour and going back to green. It's staying yellow. Whether it's growing in the bottom and whether it'll bulk out into a crop is yet to be seen. Or are you best just either mowing it and baling what little's there, or topping it and letting it come again? If it was the middle of August, I would definitely say top it off, mow it off and let it grow again. See if you can get another decent quality, small but decent quality cut. But because it's now heading for, we're on the 3rd of September, if you mow it now, it's going to be the middle of November at the earliest before you'll be mowing again. So it's just like 2 weeks too late really. But then again, it's still very dry, so will it still be dry in November? Who knows? It's a bit of a gamble. This field doesn't have a lot of Italian fast growing grass in it. It's a very thick old ley. So I'm thinking that if this one does get cut at some point, that'll be it. There'll be no chance of another cut. It'll probably green up again for some grazing, but it's not going to bulk out into another cut. And actually walking through it, there's more grass on it than I thought. Like if you were to come in here and mow it off, there would be a couple of bales. But I don't know, bales of yellowy, rusty grass. Or you're best leaving it for 2 weeks and see if it grows a bit and bulks out. Job to know, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, I think we'll leave this one for a week and see if it bulks out anymore. That's the plan. Well, I'm right next door to the sheep field. I might as well come and have a look at the sheep. This is one of our, I think I would say this is probably the wettest field that we've got. And so you'd think it should be the greenest, but it's surprisingly yellow. But I think there's plenty of grass for the sheep anyway. See if we can find them. Kemlin's probably gone to round them up because he's very keen. It tends to be. Oh, there he is. Look, he's been very controlled, waiting for the order. Look at him. Doesn't normally wait to be ordered. Lie down. Lie down. Good boy. Yeah, it's very yellow really. This is where I got stuck last year, as I said in the last video, with the muck spreader. And there was ruts here, there was ruts there. The landlord's been filling them in with soil, all the ruts. Sheep seem happy enough. All the oats have gone out of the trough. Water level's gone down a little bit, so it's either leaking or they're drinking it. Here they are, look. Lie down! Oh, that's the first time they've come running over and I haven't got any oats. Sorry guys. I haven't brought any oats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's only half of them. Where's the other half? Over there. Yeah, I wouldn't have said they're fat yet. If anything, are they losing condition? Dan's got the first course of block completed, so we got the 2 doorways there and there. So the next job he wants to do is scrape the base out level, get it as level as we can. We might have to put some sand in. We'll have to get all this rubble stuff out, try and get it level, and then we're going to put a sheet in, and then we've got a load of boards of polystyrene that we're going to use, like a good thick 1.5 inch thick polystyrene. We're going to try and lay that out and then put a layer of concrete over, well, inch of concrete or cement or something over the top, and then that will be our floor, which should bring us up to, well, just below this second brick. That's the plan. And then he reckons he's got enough blocks, second-hand blocks, to do another 2 courses all the way around. And then we need to get some roof sheets ordered and some side panels ordered, and it'll be coming together. So this was cut about a week ago, and again this had just gone to seed, so we mowed it and just baled it. I think there was just 1 bale on it that went straight to the cows, but I just wanted to show how much it's greened up, because this was completely yellow when we baled it a week ago. So we've obviously put some muck on it, which is probably going to want rolling in at some point, but yeah, it's greened up a lot since we've had the rain, which is kind of what I was thinking we should be doing everywhere, but unfortunately I just don't think it's a viable option if there's not hardly any grass on it, just purely because of the diesel that it'll cost to mow it all. So had a little bit of a problem with the old hedge cutter. It's done quite a bit of work actually. We've hacked back some quite overgrown willow and all sorts of stuff with it, so it's done quite a lot of work. But one night I was coming back, I think what happened was, because I didn't have the spools turned down, one of the spools anyway, you had to be a bit careful how quickly you dropped the boom, and I think what I did is I dropped it from a bit of a height. I let this boom down too quick, and it sort of put a lot of strain on this right link arm. It's on its side, by the way, if you're wondering, because we've just got to try and do a bit of welding, so I've tipped it over. But what it did is it buckled the tank, and it cracked in a couple of places and started leaking. So Dan's cleaned it all up, we've hammered it back straight, he's made a rib to go on here, and I had to go welding it all up last night. But what we found was, even after I welded it up, we solved a couple of holes that were dripping, sealed, but then it was still dripping underneath from here somewhere. So I'm going to clean all this off now and try and find where it's still leaking from, because it's still dripping when it's upright. It stopped dripping now because I've tipped it on its side. And then anyway, we'll hopefully find the leak, weld all this up, and then we should be good to go again, and it should be strengthened to the point where even if it does get a bit of a jar on it, it shouldn't buckle the tank again. That's the idea. Anyway, But yeah, the hedge cutting stopped because what also happened that day after a heavy afternoon of flailing is one of the flails came off. This one here, the bolt snapped, so we're missing a flail, so we're waiting for a new flail to turn up. Other than that, it's been working really well. I've been quite chuffed with it. We did kind of decide that it's probably got the wrong flails on for what we're doing. These are like a lightweight, brash cutting flail for sort of, they're quite good at cutting nettles and brambles and like 1 year's growth on a hedge, but when you're trying to cut like willow that's up to that thick, they take a bit of a hammering. But so we think they'd probably be better with a set of hammer flails on, because these are boot flails. But yeah, so we wondered whether to swap it or whether you could swap it. We think you probably can swap it, but it's probably going to cost about what the whole hedge cutter is worth just to buy a set of flails for it. So that stopped us in our tracks a bit. We kind of thought, well, maybe we'll carry on, because we haven't really got that much hedge cutting to do, really, only a few bits and bobs now. So, and what I've been cutting is hedges that are in fields that we've just took on the last year or two that haven't really been cut and needed hacking right back because they hadn't been cut for years. And hopefully we won't have to be doing a lot of that. Now I've hacked them back, next year it'll just be a case of cutting off 1 year's growth, and this will probably be plenty adequate for that. So I don't think it's really worth messing with the swapping flails at this point. So anyway, that's what we're on with today. It's a lovely sunny day. We've had about 5 or 6 mil of rain over the last 3 or 4 days, as you can see by the puddles. So yeah, it's really done the grass a lot of good. It's starting to green up in places. I think we probably need more, but we're moving in the right direction. So, well, I think I've welded the crack up from where it was leaking, but it's impossible to know really until we turn it back up right and put a bit of oil back in it. We had to drain all the oil out of it, obviously, because, well, I don't know whether we did or we didn't, but obviously it's advisable to, if you're trying to weld up a hole in a tank that's leaking oil, that's full of oil. So we did. I drained all the oil out of it, so we'll probably run it. It's a lot of oil. It's like 60-70 litres. So. And I don't think there's a lot wrong with the oil, so we'll probably try and run it through a sieve or something as we drop it back in, and then we'll have to top it up. So yeah, next job is turn it back over. Go and see if Dan will give me a hand. Turn it back up straight, put a bit of oil in it and see if it leaks. Basically, it's all we can do, trial and error. Right, all done. Several attempts later, we've had to weld it up quite a few times because every time we kept trying it kept leaking. So there's a fair bit of weld on everywhere now, but hopefully that's done, and we've refilled it with oil, and we've filled it right up to here somewhere. So it's got more oil in it than it's ever had in it. It's surprisingly low, really. So we're just waiting on a flail to come for the head, and then it could be back in action. Dan's resealed the sump. It's the only way of filling it is to take that plate off, and it needed a new gasket seal on it, so he's resealed that because there was quite a bit of water in it, even though the only time it's ever been outside in the rain was when we were using it the other day, and for a day or so it's been sat out here, but there was quite a bit of water in it, considering the rest of the time it's just been sat dry in the shed all winter since we last drained the water out of it. So hopefully with it being sealed it shouldn't get any in it now. Well, it's Saturday morning, we're just having a tidy up on our front yard because A, it needs a bit of a tidy up, and B, we need to clear some space because we're going to be having some containers going in here. My other brother wants to rent some space to put some containers, so we're going to clear this area. And these are all Dan's old cars. This is a is it a V12? Oh, I'll have to ask Dan. petrol engine Beamer. What's the make of it? An 850. It's an 850 CI, which I don't think there's many of them about. Not in this country anyway. But Dan bought it as a bit of a project, and he spent quite a lot of money on it doing it up. Main issues were little electrical issues. The electrics were quite ahead of their time. For the age of it, it had electric everything, electric seats, electric heated seats, electric lights, electric mirrors, electric everything. Cruise control, climate control. I think it even had automatic windscreen wipers, I don't know. But yeah, there was a lot of electrics to it, and that was what was constantly going wrong, and also it kept draining the batteries. You had to disconnect the batteries, otherwise it would just drain the batteries over the course of like 2 days. So anyway, Dan's just abandoned it, and it's sat here for about 10 years. But we need to move it, and he was like, oh, we'll just start it up. But he thinks the engine's seized, so he thinks it just needs cracking, so he's run off to go and get a spanner. And then after this one, we've got his old Mazda bit of a racer car, which he also did loads of work with. He changed the engine from a 1.6 to a 1.8. He did loads of little upgrades to it. It used to go really well, this, until it failed its MOT. It was rotten. The bodywork's basically just made out of paper, so it was rotten around the back. And so what he decided to do at the time was to buy a different shell that wasn't rotten, which was this, and then he was going to get that sandblasted and painted, and then put all of everything off that onto this shell. But of course it never happened, and then he bought himself a new car, and they've just sat, and surprisingly they're no less rotten now than what they were 10 years ago. What size is this engine? Well, how big is the engine? It's a 5-litre V12. So it uses quite a lot of fuel. It does about 10 miles to the gallon. Because it's a V12, it's not really that fiery either. It's a bit of a slow burn. It's got blue leather interior. And it just smells like old man in here. It's got a knob there which is electric to lift your steering wheel up and down, and you can push it in and out. Oh look, it even works. It's wired up backwards for some reason.
Everything works in here, even the windows. Even the car!
Even the windows.
No, the windows don't.
It's a bit sort of temperamental.
Even the car does work. Right?
Automatic box. It's got a multiple CD player. I think you can put like 12 discs in it.
It does only have 2 doors.
It's only got 2 doors, but it's got 4 seats. 4 seats in the back. Taken the belt off because the alternator's seized. Just connecting the batteries back up. Not that I think it'll make any difference because they're pretty dead. So, change of jobs now. Dan's gone and put his car batteries on charge, and we've started doing a different job. This is the calf shed, and up there's a little white pipe that comes out of the wall, which is all the waste water from the milk machine. So it's mostly water with little bits of residual milk in. And for the last 12 months we've got away with it just coming out and pouring onto the grass, but we've ended up with a bit of a smelly, milky swamp up there. So we need to bring it down and put it in, mix it in with this roof water. So we're going to dig a pipe along this little path, and then my plan was to tee it into this. But what I'm finding is what my dad did, or my uncle, when they built this. It's probably been getting on for 30 years since they built this. It was a greenhouse originally. He's put a bit of a U-bend in here, presumably to catch the silt, and then it goes off into a land drain. I don't know whether that land drain goes to the next pipe or whether it goes off and then they all tee in at some point. I'm not sure, but anyway, we're going to do away with this U, and then we're just going to basically put a T in instead, and then come out into the path and then straight line up to 3/4 of the way up this shed. We've got a load of old pipe that we used to use for drinkers. Back when we were lambing, we used to have like a drinker system, so this would be half full of water, and that would be where the ewe would drink from, and then there would be another hole in each 6-foot pen. So we've got loads of these old pipes left that we're going to try and make use of. We'll have to just cover the holes, and then we're probably going to be short of like 1 or 2 pipes, but that's the plan anyway. And we're going to put it in the middle of the path so that we're not driving over it. We do occasionally drive down here with a digger or a little dumper when we're cutting this hedge. So to save squashing the pipe, we're just going to put it in the middle of the path, and then anything we drive down here with, we'll straddle it rather than squash it, because it's not going to be overly deep. It's only going to be in no more than 1 foot. So that's the plan. This is the outlet. We've also got a sink outlet there, which we might join into it. Put a grid here somewhere. Dan's going to bring the digger down. We're going to do it by hand, with the digger, because it's quite stony. But yeah, this is what we're ending up with, a bit of a swamp right in the middle of a path. Calves seem happy. Next project, we've just took this off the buck rake. Didn't seem to be any interest in anyone buying the 6-foot buck rake, because I think it was too small really. So we decided that it wasn't worth scrapping, so we thought we'd take it to bits and turn it into a bit of a muck fork, but more of a brash fork to go on the loader tractor, so that we don't need to put the adapter one on to use the same one as what we use on the JCB. It can just be a loader tractor fork with Euro 8 brackets on, that we can just use for moving brash, when we're cutting trees back and things in fields, because we've got quite a bit of tree work to do. So we've took the buck rake part of it off, and then we were just looking. This frame wants changing, the angle wants changing. At the moment it leans back like buck rakes do, but basically I'm going to cut it off and put it so that it's upright for a start, or to be honest, it could even lean forward, but we might just do it upright to make it simple. And then there's bits we can cut off it. We don't need that piece. Those 2 outside plates we don't need. We're going to try and use this plate as the bottom latch. It might nearly be in the right place for the bottom latch hole for the Euro 8s, and then we're going to cut the middle piece off, because again that's what held the ram, which is of no use where it is. So be some handy loads of bits of handy plate. It's just a shame that this one tine is all bent. Whether we could get it off and get it in the press and see if we could straighten it out, probably not. all the rest of the tines seem pretty good. So yeah, that's today's project. Hedge cutter's all done. Dan's resealed this plate so hopefully the water won't get in. We're just waiting on a flail for that so we can put it back on the tractor and get it out of the way. Well, after half an hour of grinding with my little grinder, I've got the two little brackets off either side. I've cut the middle piece, but it just needs a bit of persuading to get it out. I'm not sure how's best to get it out really without... I can hit it with a hammer, but it's probably going to twist it and bend it all, and I kind of like to keep it as a straight piece so that it can be used for stuff, because it's some decent bit of flat plate. But anyway, it's starting to go dark. I think I'm going to go and clean my cows out. I think he's going to have to lift it over that tree. This should be interesting. I don't think he's going to get it over the tree. Stand back a bit, Craig. Yeah, you're right, yeah. Well, we've got container number 1 in place. He's just moved himself around, ready to unload the next wagon. So the next wagon's going to back in up alongside him, and he's going to lift it off and swing it over the top, I think, is the plan. Just putting his legs back. Just come to see if the sheep are fat yet. Give him some oats. No, they don't look fat yet, do they?
No.
It's weird. It's weird that they're not fattening off the occasional mouthful of oats and some yellow grass. Anyway, not to worry. Have you counted them?
No.
Why not? They're all there. There we are, 2 boxes. Hopefully my brother will be happy. They're for storage for my brother's business. He wants some extra storage, so. And we opened that one and all the immigrants ran out and went off down the road. But the first one was empty, so. Anyway, we're back in the yard and we're thinking we need to fill in those apexes with some sheet that we found to try and stop the rain going in there and getting all those bales wet, because now it's started raining. It's getting quite noticeable how wet those bales are getting. So we're going to work on that. We just need to think of a platform that we can create to be able to stand on and move that's that high. So as our JCB won't actually lift high enough to go up there, because we had a job putting the roof on, we had to come up with creative solutions to the problem. So this is what we come up with, but obviously for legal reasons, this is all just comedy satire. There's no way me and Dan are going to end up standing on that thing. Well, this is where obviously we started doing the job at about 8 o'clock last night, and then we realised we didn't have any tech screws, so we had to go to tool station to get some screws, and then by the time we got that one sheet up it was dark. So, but it's actually working out really well doing what we're doing, and we should have enough sheets to basically clad the whole end, which will just stop the rain coming in on top of the bales. It'll sort of run down the side of the bales rather than sit on the top, which in theory should be okay. So yeah, hopefully try and do a bit more of that later today. 3 weaned calves, we're just taking them out of the milk pen and taking them to the weaned pen, which is at the other farm. So once I've got them in the trailer, I'll cut the white tags out for the milk machine. Good boy. This one nearest us is quite a good one. The other 2 were not quite as good. But when you take them all from one farm, you kind of get what you're given. So this is what we do. You cut the white parts out, and then you can reuse these electronic tags. You just put a new back in, and we're just using the last number of these are the new backs. Let me just write the number on, and we're just writing the number that was on their ear tag, but you can put whatever number you want on, and that's the number that you set in the computer. Because we're getting them all from one farm at the moment, it's easy just to use their tag number, because you're never going to get duplicates, because they're all coming from the same farm. So when we get the next new calves in, we can just delete the data from these tags, put them in the bucket with the rest of them, and then start again. So these 3 calves, I was just looking, don't know whether you can see on the camera, but one of them had 40 kilos of milk, the other 2 had 37 kilos. So that was the total amount of milk that they'd had before they were weaned. So I've just got the headstock off the fork, and I'm just trying to decide now. We're thinking we're going to be able to use these for the bottom latches for the Euro 8. They really want to be about there, but whether we bend them or maybe even cut the box off up here and move it along, I don't know. And then I don't know whether to take we don't really need these outer plates, so I don't know whether to cut them off and what's the best way to cut them off, whether to try and cut them all the way down the weld and sort of snap them off because I won't be able to get to the inside weld, or just cut them off down there and leave this bit of plate on. Can't really decide. Whatever you do, it's quite a lot of cutting, quite a lot of blades, but yeah, I'll have to make a decision. But yeah, and then the plan is to just square the bottom off of this box so it's square with that box, so it'll just be straight, and well, square everything off and then basically just weld it back on again. The idea of it being square is that hopefully we could maybe use it for as a bale spike as well. We'd take some of the spikes off and use it for straw bales. The problem with using this one was the angle of the muck fork. Your bale would always hit the top of the muck fork, and then this one was the opposite. This one was leaning backwards. This far. It's not welded on or anything, but we've got it squarish. I think we're going to cut these off and weld them back on here, which will put them in the right line for the brackets. And then we found we've got two hooks. We knew we had them somewhere, but one of them was missing, and we've just searched around the whole workshop for about an hour, but we did find them eventually. Anyway, we're going to carry on with the shed now before it goes dark. Right, it's Monday morning. We're at the middle of the month, middle of September, and me and Dan got this finished the other day. We've just finished filling in of the shed to stop the rain blowing in on top of this last end stack of, well, this is hay. So yeah, we were quite chuffed with that. We managed to do it with just some bits of tin we had lying around, so we got that done. And then we've had quite a lot of rain actually, so we've just been working on workshop stuff, so I'm hopefully going to get this finished today. So we've got the frame off the forks, and I'm just making some brackets. So these are going to be the bottom brackets that'll sit in here, and then I'm going to weld these hooks onto these plates, which will go here. So hopefully we'll get all that welded up today, get the frame welded back onto the forks, and we'll be up and running. And all tacked up. It's about as accurate as it gets for me when Dan's not around. confidently thought I got it right first time then, but I haven't. It's missed. It's not latched on. It looks as though the hole will line up, but it's this bit of steel's hit this back plate. But other than that, I would say the pins line up with the holes. So yeah, I think I just need to grind. Oh, I don't know whether it'll cure it, but I'll grind a bit of that corner off so that it slides up to this point. This was going to be my stopping point, and then we'll try again. Right, well, it's on. The pin has gone through. It's not as clean as I'd like it. I mean, this headstock's pretty worn out, but it is latched, so it probably would work. But I'm not quite sure that it's the right setup, because at the moment we've got this acting as the stop, which I don't think is ideal. I think we either need something welding on the side so that it stops against this, or weld something on that comes down here and then stops against this bar, because at the moment what we've got is a bit of a ramp, which I don't think is ideal, but it'll do for now. We'll see what Dan thinks when he gets home. Dan's the engineer, really. But yes, so there we have it. We've got a bush fork for our loader tractor, which we've made out of a buck rake, and it'll double up hopefully as a bale spike. Probably not with these spikes. We'll probably get some long spikes and then take the whole set off and just put I don't know, well, it depends what sort of bales I'm moving, but for round bales I think you'd only need two, one bale each side. But it could be a square baler. You could put a set of 4 on and use it for square bales, and you've got the square back. That's why I wanted the back square for leaning bales against. But these long buck rake tines would be ideal for moving brash, because we've got loads of big willows and stuff to cut back. And I always find that the muck fork tines are never quite long enough to pick up a load of brash. So there we go. And then just tried to keep it relatively lightweight, because if it were just moving brash or bales, you doesn't need a big back door on. So we've got this now all spare, so we'll have to try and think of something to use that for. We've got a double acting ram and a whole frame, pins, loads of bushes, loads of flat steel, which I'm sure will come in handy for something. Don't know what, but that's all spare. So yeah, quite chuffed. A lot of our grasses look a lot like this. So they've all gone quite yellow because from the drought. Obviously we've had quite a bit of rain now. I don't know exactly how much, but we've had plenty of rain. Not so much that it's made it too wet to travel or anything like that, but enough to get the grass all going again. What I've noticed is anywhere that we have cut in the last 2 weeks is gone very, very lush and green, but anywhere we haven't cut has stayed yellow and hasn't really grown at all. I was hoping that it would bulk up a bit, because like this isn't really it's not really worth cutting, but at the same time, if you don't cut it, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit here. But it's getting so late in the year now that if we cut it now, it might regrow a bit, but it's going to be far too late to be getting any kind of quality silage, because we just don't have the day length. So yeah, in the next video we're definitely going, at the end of September, we're definitely going to cut some grass, but I haven't decided yet how much to cut, how much to leave for a little bit longer. We'll see. It'll be a case of just catching the weather windows now. And of course, you know it's winter when all the cattle are constantly needed bedding up. They're just, you bed them up and it only lasts a day or two, whereas in the summer you can get away with just chucking straw in every week. So on the grind of bedding up cattle every other day and moving muck, and the yard's gone to a sloppy mess again. which is a little bit depressing, but I suppose there's good things about winter. We'll get plenty done. They need a bale of silage. We're going to hopefully just take advantage of the dry ground. It's not necessarily dry weather at the moment, but dry ground that we've got, and get some trees cut back in a couple of new fields, and do those sorts of jobs that we weren't able to do the back end of last year because the ground was just too wet and you'd make a mess. And the other thing is muck spreading as well. I've held off spreading too much muck because I didn't know whether I was going to mow again, but anything that we get cut now in the next couple of weeks, we'll try and get straight on after it with some manure of some sort. So yeah, happy days. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.